Good morning. Gorgias. Laches, day 2. Nikias. I have no objection, Socrates, and my opinion is that the acquirement of this art is in many ways useful to young men, so the art of fighting in armor. It's a bit earlier, shorter since I woke up than usual. It is an advantage to them that instead of the favorite amusements of their leisure hours, they should have one which tends to improve their bodily health. No gymnastics could be better or harder exercise, and thus the art of riding, or of all arts most benefiting to a free man. The art of riding. For they who are thus exercised in the use of arms, are the only persons being trained for the contest in which we are engaged, and in the accomplishments which it requires. Moreover, in actual battle, when you have to fight in a line with a number of others, such an acquirement will be of some use, and will be of the greatest service whenever the ranks are broken, and you have to fight singly, either in pursuit, when you are attacking someone who is defending himself, or in flight, when you have to defend yourself against an assailant. Certainly, he who possessed the art could not meet with any harm at the hands of a single person, or perhaps of several, and in every case he would have a great advantage. Further, this sort of skill inclines a man to the love of other noble lessons, for every man who has learned how to fight in armor will desire to learn the proper arrangements of an army, which is the sequel of the lesson, and when he has learned this, and his ambition is once fired, he will go on to learn the complete art of the general. There is no difficulty in seeing that the knowledge and practice of other military arts will be honorable and valuable to a man, and his lesson may be the beginning, and this lesson may be the beginning of them. Beautifully said and very true. If you want to excel in this life, on this level of existence, you should, don't know what the equivalent of knowing how to fight in armor is today. But to play the game, you should equip yourself to play, it's that whole A game, B game thing that the boys talk about. Maybe. No, it's different. It's deeper than that. I hope it's deeper than that. It all feels so shallow. Let me add a further advantage, which is by no means a slight one. That this science will make any man a great deal more daring and resolute in the field. Hence, we are opening up to courage. And I will not disdain to mention what by some may be thought to be a small matter, he will have a more impressive appearance at the right time. That is to say, at the time when his appearance will strike terror into his enemies. My opinion then, Lysimachus, is, as I say, that the youth should be instructed in this art, and for the reasons which I have given. But Laches may take a different view, and I shall be very glad to hear what he has to say. Okay, I'm gonna share something personal now. I think it's relevant. So, I used to be a preacher. I've spent my entire childhood preparing for it, one could say. I've been taking acting lessons and participating in theatre since I was 8 or 10. Can't remember exactly what age, but around maybe 9. Around that age. So I've learned the art of public speaking, being in front of an audience easily, and I heard John say recently that he had to take on the role of a teacher to overcome his the debilitating shyness. Well, that's what I had to do. I had to take acting lessons to overcome my debilitating shyness. So that was me training in armor, how to fight, how to be amongst people without hiding. I actually, last year, September, I actually found myself trying to hide from someone, but that was weird. I don't usually do that. And then, once I started preaching, because if you're on stage, of course, you're in costume and character, it's different. My mom used to tell me, just focus on how you look. If you look pretty and feel pretty, you'll be able to do a good job. And it worked, but Jesus. Going somewhere to talk about the Word of God, stepping up onto a pulpit to talk, to speak as a mouthpiece of the divinity. And your concern is, well, if I look good, I will be able to do this well. That is where you get your courage from looking good. I think that is probably why I'm so pissed at all the men at this corner that just see women as something, some kind of snack and appetizer to lure men in. I'm so used to be detailing. That's the only part of me that matters. But maybe Socrates would have been different. Maybe not. He was quite an ass to his own wife. Laches. I should not like to maintain, Nicias, that any kind of knowledge is not to be learned. For all knowledge appears to be a good. I like Laches. And if, as the teachers of the art affirm, this use of arms is really a species of knowledge, it's a skill. It's oh no, I can't remember. What's the P? I can remember all the other three: propositional, perspectile, participatory. What's the other one? What's this? It's the other one. Oh, anyway, know-how, skill. And if it is such as Nikas describes, then it ought to be learned. But if not, and if those who profess to teach it are deceivers only, or if it be knowledge but not of a valuable sort, then what is the use of learning it? I think it's quite obvious that it's a valuable knowledge to have in times when war is prominent. I say this because I think that if it had been really valuable, the Lacedaemonians, whose whole life is passed in finding out and practicing the arts which give them an advantage over the other nations in war, would have discovered this one. And even if they have not, still these professors of the art cannot have failed to discover that of all the Hellenists, the Lacedaemonians have the greatest interest in such matters, and that a master of the art who was honored among them would be sure to make his fortune among other nations, just as a tragic poet who is honored among ourselves. Which is the reason why he who fancies that he can write a tragedy does not go about exhibiting in the states outside Attica, but rushes hither straight and exhibits at Athens, and this is natural. Whereas I perceive that these fighters in armor regard Lacedaemon as a sacred, inviolable territory, which they do not touch with this point of their foot, but they make a circuit of the neighboring states, and would rather exhibit to any others than the Spartans, and particularly to those who would themselves acknowledge that they are by no means first-rate in the arts of war. Further, Lysimachus, I have encountered a good many of these gentlemen in actual service, and have taken their measure, which I can give you at once, for none of these matters, masters of fens, have ever been distinguished in war, that lack of courage. There has been a sort of fatality about them, while in other arts the men of note have been always those who have practiced the art. These appear to be a most unfortunate exception. For example, this very Stesilias, whom you and I have just witnessed exhibiting in all that crowd and making such great professions of his powers, I had a better opportunity of seeing at another time, making an actual battle a real exhibition of himself involuntarily. He was a marine on board a ship which charged a transport vessel and was armed with a weapon, half spear, half scythe. The weapon was as singular as its owner. Yeah, I can't even imagine it. How do you not hurt yourself with such a weapon? To make a long story short, I will only tell you what happened to this notable invention of the scythe spear. He was fighting and the scythe was caught in the rigging of the other ship and struck fast. There you go. And he tugged but was unable to get his weapon free. The two ships were passing one another. He first ran along his own ship holding on to the spear, but as the other ship passed by and drew him after, as he was holding on to the spear, the virtue of letting go, he let it slip through his hand until he retained only the end of the handle. The people in the transport clapped their hands and laughed at his ridiculous figure. And when someone threw a stone which fell on the deck at his feet, and he quitted his hold on the scythe spear, the crew of his own triumphant also burst out laughing. They could not refrain when they held the weapon waving in the air, suspended from the transport. Yeah, but that's just silly. Now, I do not deny that there may be something in such an art, as Nicias asserts, but I tell you my experience. And as I said at first, whether this be an art of which I think Plato was just trying to be funny, because obviously he's trying to undermine the art of fighting in armor so that he can get to the courage part. But this is not a very good example of learning how to fight in armor. Whether this be an art of which the advantage is so slight, or not an art at all, but only an imposition, in either case such an acquirement is not worth having. For my opinion is that if the professor of this art be a coward, there we go, he will be likely to become rash, and his character will be only more clearly revealed character. We are back at character again. Or if he be brave, and fail ever so little, other men will be on the watch. Maybe that's why I feel such resentment. I mean, it helped me. It helped me cope with life. It helped me get through life. But it was all about pretend. And the appearance. It was all about appearance and not about character. And he will be greatly traduced. For there is a jealousy of such pretenders, and unless a man be preeminent in valor, he cannot help being ridiculous. If he says that he has this sort of skill, and I think my beef is not with the people who raised me, like they did a pretty good job. It's with me, still not knowing how to move beyond pretending and appearance. Such is my judgment, Laches, on the study of this art. But I will learn soon enough. The older you get, the less you can rely on that. As I said at first, ask Socrates, and do not let him go until he has given you his opinion of the matter. Ah, that moves me. Ask Socrates. and do not let him go until he has given you his opinion of the matter. Noted Plato, I will ask Socrates and I will not let him go until he has given me his opinion of the matter. Have a good day.